I never thought I'd be that woman. The one whispered about behind closed doors. The one who broke vows. The one who stepped outside her marriage. I used to sit with my friends at brunch, rolling my eyes when someone gossiped about a wife sneaking around. How could she? I'd say with a moral certainty I thought was unshakable. And yet, here I am, telling you the real reason I had an affair. On paper, my life was picture perfect. A husband, Daniel, who everyone said was a good man. A steady home. 2 kids who kept the house noisy and alive. Family portraits hung on the walls. Smiles frozen in time. From the outside, I was living the dream. But inside I was fading. Daniel wasn't cruel. He wasn't abusive. That almost made it worse. Because my pain didn't come from dramatic explosions, but from the slow, quiet suffocation of neglect. He worked late. He was always tired. His eyes were on his phone more than they were on me. When I tried to talk about how lonely I felt, he brushed it off with, "We're just busy. Things will get better." But they didn't. The intimacy was gone. Not just physical, but emotional. Nights lying side by side felt like we were on opposite continents. I'd reach for him and get only silence in return. His name was Ryan. He wasn't someone I sought out. He was just there. A co-worker who always asked how my day was and actually listened to the answer. At first, it was harmless. Jokes over coffee, the occasional text about work deadlines. But then he noticed things Daniel hadn't noticed in years. New haircut? It looks amazing. You been quiet today, everything okay? You're stronger than you give yourself credit for. Those small acknowledgments cracked open something in me I thought had died. I felt seen, desired, important. I told myself it was nothing. I was just flattered, just enjoying harmless attention. But harmless as a way of slipping. One late night at the office. One glass of wine too many. And one kiss that should have never happened. That kiss led to more. The justifications I told myself. At first, I built walls of excuses. Daniel doesn't care about me anymore. I deserve to feel wanted. This isn't really me. This is just a phase. But deep down, I knew what I was doing. I was breaking my marriage, betraying not just my husband, but myself. Still, I didn't stop, because Ryan filled a void Daniel wouldn't even acknowledge. It wasn't the sex that hooked me. It was a feeling of being chosen, of someone looking at me like I mattered. Every time I came home after seeing Ryan, the guilt nearly drowned me. I'd kiss my kids goodnight and wonder what kind of mother hides this kind of secret. I'd crawl into bed next to Daniel, smelling the faint cologne of another man on my skin, and pray he wouldn't notice. He never did. One evening, Daniel was talking about plans for our next family vacation. His eyes lit with excitement, and I felt a crack in my chest so sharp I thought I'd choke. I had what so many people wanted, a stable, loving partner, and yet I'd gone searching elsewhere. Why? Here's the truth. I finally admitted to myself. I didn't have an affair because of Ryan. I didn't have an affair because Daniel failed me. I had an affair because I was disappearing inside my own life. I had stopped being a woman with dreams and desires and started being only a wife, only a mother, only a background character in my own story. The affair wasn't about lust. It was about reclaiming pieces of myself I thought I'd lost forever. It was selfish. It was reckless. And it was wrong. But it was also a wake-up call. When Daniel found out. Because secrets never stay buried forever. His face crumbled in a way I'll never forget. He didn't yell. He didn't throw anything. He just looked at me like he didn't recognize the woman standing in front of him. And maybe he didn't. The fallout was brutal. Nights of shouting, nights of silence. Counseling sessions filled with raw confessions. There were moments I thought the marriage wouldn't survive. Moments when I wondered if maybe it shouldn't. But here's what happened. The affair forced both of us to confront what had been rotting under the surface for years. Daniel realized how absent he had been. I realized how destructive my choices were. For the first time in a long time, we actually saw each other. No, we didn't magically heal overnight. Trust, once broken, is not easily glued back together. But we're trying. Slowly, painfully, but genuinely. And as for me, I've stopped asking, why did I have an affair, as though Ryan was the answer. I know now. The real reason was me, my emptiness, my silence, my fear of speaking the truth before it was too late. If there's one lesson I've learned, it's this: affairs aren't about passion. They're about escape. And no escape comes without consequences. I hurt the man I loved, and I hurt myself. But I'm finally rebuilding, not as a woman who cheated, not as the wife who was neglected, but as a woman who is learning to stand fully in her own skin again. Because if I don't, then all of this pain will have been for nothing. There's a truth people don't like to admit. Sometimes love is enough. After Daniel found out, we tried. We tried. Counseling sessions where I poured out my guilt. Apologies so heavy I could barely breathe. Nights where he would reach for me, then stop like his own hand didn't trust his heart. But every time we tried to move forward, we slammed into a wall. Daniel couldn't stop picturing me with Ryan. I couldn't erase the feeling of being invisible, even though Daniel was suddenly trying harder than he ever had before. It was too late. One night, after another exhausting argument that ended in silence, Daniel sat on the edge of the bed, his shoulders slumped. His voice was low, steady, like he had rehearsed it in his head 1,000 times. "I love you," he said, "but I can't forgive you. Not fully. And you can't stay here out of guilt. We're just breaking each other into smaller pieces." And in that moment, I knew he was right. The divorce papers came months later. Signing them felt like carving out a piece of my soul. Our kids cried, confused, their world shifting into something they hadn't asked for. People whispered, "Of course." Neighbors, friends, everyone had an opinion about the woman who destroyed her own marriage. I used to flinch at the looks. Now I just carry them. They're part of my story. Daniel and I are polite for the kids, but the love we once had, it's ashes now. And Ryan, we didn't last. Because here's the thing no one tells you. An affair feels intoxicating when it's hidden, when it's built on stolen moments and adrenaline. But once the dust settles, once the fantasy is forced into daylight, you see it for what it really is. Ryan wasn't my forever. He was my escape hatch. And escape hatches aren't meant to be homes. Starting over. So here I am, a single woman in her late 30s, co-parenting, rebuilding, answering uncomfortable questions about my past. Do I regret the affair? Yes. Do I regret the divorce? Not anymore. Because the truth is, the affair didn't just end my marriage. It ended the version of me that was too afraid to admit how unhappy she was. It burned everything down, and in that fire, I found the courage to start again. Not with a man. Not with another distraction. With myself. I go to therapy. I write. I take long walks at night with no one to answer to. I'm learning who I am when I'm not defined by being someone's wife, someone's mother, someone's secret. And maybe that's the real reason I had an affair. Not to destroy my marriage, not to chase passion, but because something inside me knew if I didn't shatter the life I had, I would never build the one I truly needed. It's been 2 years since the divorce. The storm that once consumed me has settled into something quieter, calmer. Daniel has moved on. He's dating someone new, and though it stung at first, I've realized it's a relief. He deserves happiness, and so do I. We're not enemies. We're two people who couldn't fix what was broken, no matter how much history we shared. Ryan is long gone, a chapter closed, a reminder of choices made in loneliness and desperation. I don't hate him. I don't even hate myself anymore. I just understand. The hardest part was forgiving myself. It took time. Time to sit with the shame, time to face the pain I caused, and time to accept that one terrible choice didn't define the rest of my life. Now, my days are different. I'm not chasing anyone's attention. I'm not begging to be seen. I see myself. I've started painting again, something I abandoned after college. I laugh more with my kids. I breathe deeper. If I ever love again, it will not be because I need someone to fill the empty spaces inside me. It will be because I am already whole, and I simply want to share that wholeness with someone else. That's the real ending of my story. Not the affair, not the divorce. The real ending is this. I finally came back to myself. And maybe that was the point all along.